Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Class vs. Crass Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Hey Jay, aka Jason Lapine. Joining me, as always, the Crassy one, RGT85.
Hello.
And the, I don't have anything witty. The bearded one, Greg.
What up?
Can't think quick on my feet tonight. Welcome, yes, to the the Class vs. Crass Gaming Podcast. Fair warning, I'm running on very little sleep, so I'm not quite functional. But if it is your first time joining us, it is a 1-hour gaming podcast where we talk about all the latest things in gaming, including what we've been playing, some fun headlines tonight, where we're going to talk about these game delays that took place last week, quite a few of those. What could that mean in the whole broader, greater thing? You all right there, Sean? He's having troubles. Then we've got Google Stadia exclusives being talked about, which is an interesting little topic I want to discuss and fight Sean with. And then we've got Fallout 76.
Let's announce a Nintendo console with no exclusives.
Let's see how far you get with that. Fallout 76 is really giving EA a run for its money at being worst company or worst game model ever. So yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about. Let's get started with health check. How are you guys doing? Haven't seen you in a week.
Tired. I think we're all tired.
Why are you guys all tired?
Well, I drank last night.
Did you get robbed, Greg?
Yeah.
You had more stuff last week.
I know. My least favorite thing to do, probably ever, is to move, and we're moving right now, and it just sucks ass.
That's a very interesting expression. I don't want to know where it came from, but it's very visual.
Yeah, from the butt.
Yeah.
They don't teach that in Canada.
No, they don't. Hey, Sean, look at my new mug. See, this is the CN Tower, which is a landmark in Toronto. So it's Twitter loves Toronto.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. They're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. You seem extra cranky tonight.
I just have a lot of work to do. For some reason, I said yes to a wrestling podcast tonight that I've literally never heard of, and it's they have to call me on the phone
on a telephone.
Yeah, it's like they're calling me on the phone through their Skype, and I have like a million games that I'm trying to capture footage for, and my body hurts from ring fuck adventure.
Well, maybe if you weren't playing around pretending to be a Beetlejuice, you could have gotten more work done.
The video got dick for views as well, like I knew it would.
Of course, you put effort into it. You can't put effort into videos. That's the YouTube trick.
Yeah.
I like the part where you grabbed your crotch and the honk sound came out.
I like that too.
I really did laugh at that. It looked perfect.
I was skimming just to see when Beetlejuice was on screen.
It was mostly... It was probably only like 2.5 minutes of talking about the actual game, and everything else was just gags. Because, I mean, it's a fucking workout game. Like, what can you really say about it? It's not bad though. Like,
how are your abs?
I mean, I've just been doing like the leg stuff.
Oh yeah, I hear it's squat heavy in the first hour.
Yeah, like that's why my legs hurt.
Greg's.
But it'll
squat heavy.
It'll put you in. It's a workout. It's a workout for sure.
Yeah, I did a workout yesterday. I went to my first Arabic wedding, and I don't know if you guys.
Anything like Arabic?
Probably Arabic. It's very similar. On the dance floor, at least this one, I don't know if it's common, but this is my experience with it. There was these guys with drums, like just banging this big drum, and they'd run up to people and like almost. If you were looking at it from behind, it looked like they were whipping people and being like, "Dance faster, dance harder," but they're just banging the drum right next to people. It was very rhythmic. That's cool. I like that.
For some reason, I can't picture you dancing.
Why were you? Who did you know there?
My cousin married into an Arabic family.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a lot of weddings. All right. So, what is that?
Was that porn?
No, it was my phone.
The question remains. Was that porn?
Some weird advertisement.
Was that porn? Okay. What have you been playing?
Ring Fit, WWE 2K20.
Did they get better with that game?
Fuck off with that. That game was so bad.
How? How does that? How do you keep putting out such a subpar product? And I haven't experienced
the thing it is, it's way worse than last year's. Like everything about, like graphically, it's literally like an early PS3 game, which is no hyperbole.
Is that really necessary too? Like for 2K,
No.
NBA 2K and WWE for them to do it annually?
Sports games, I can understand why, because you have so many changes. Yes, you could just do roster updates, but they do improve in NBA 2K20. They do improve the actual basketball of the game. They're constantly refining it. Whereas WWE has been on the same engine since, I want to say 2014 or 15. They call the Predator engine, I think it's called. And like and the thing of it is like, at least when you're playing a basketball game or Madden or whatever, you know, when there's roster updates in the middle of the season, those roster updates are indicative of the game. They will update the rosters. You don't get that with the wrestling games. So like it's already completely out of date by the time it's come out. But that's not even the bad thing about it. Like so many people had all these crazy graphical glitches. I'm sure you've all seen them all.
Yeah, I saw one someone was doing like the character creator and their eyeball was like down here, something like that.
Yeah, like the weird thing is I rarely had any real serious glitches like that. I hate the game because it's not fun. It is not it's a chore to do a match. And imagine like playing Street Fighter and be like, "Oh, it's a fucking chore to do this fight." Like I've never just felt bored with a wrestling game, and I've played probably damn near every wrestling game ever, and I've never felt bored.
You weren't bored with last year's WW thing?
I didn't play 19.
Wasn't that the one that came to Switch that you really hated?
That was 18.
Oh geez, 3 years in a row of bad games.
Well, I don't think 2K19 was as bad.
Oh, so one step forward,
it was more
back.
It was more technically sound.
Huh.
It's just so weird because like I remember as a kid, like they'd do like In Your House and then Royal Rumble, and they had like just
they used to have
like infrequently.
It was infrequent, and each console, if you remember like the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, they did 3 separate games. You had SmackDown games on the PS2. You had WWF or WWE Raw and WrestleMania on the Xbox, and you had the Day of Reckoning series on the GameCube. And all 3 games had their own unique things to them. So now it's just a yearly iteration of one game, and that's it.
Do you think we'll see the day where they get that one game right across all platforms, and it's a good game people can actually look forward to?
Not anytime soon.
Jeez.
Yeah, they have to wait till they implode on themselves like Ubisoft.
I think they need to. I think they need to just have someone else do the games.
I know some people who are actually interested in taking over wrestling games.
Yeah.
They're working. I can't tell you right now.
Why?
Because it's confidential info.
It's not like they're gonna get the fucking license from what is this, like a 3-man operation? And we're gonna get that license from 2K. We've got $1 billion. Like,
I wonder if at some point their investors say like, you know, hey, let's shop this out or sell it off to recoup the money.
I mean, maybe it depends. Like, and now competition is potentially coming around the corner. So that will be a good thing. So I mean that would help tremendously. The problem with waiting too long for a wrestling game, like every 2 to 3 years, is just your rosters. Your gimmicks become outdated, and companies aren't willing to just offer free updates for those characters and stuff, and that makes the game suck, in my opinion.
What else have you been playing?
Vampire on the Switch. I don't know if I can talk about that. Super Monkey Ball on the Switch. I don't know if I can talk about that.
Weren't you playing Aladdin and Lion King last week?
I don't know if I can talk about that.
God.
I saw a bunch of Walmarts breaking street date on it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't email me. And
What else is new?
Have you
email
guys
me and
seen
say
the
embargo
retro
changed.
collectible thing for Lion King and Aladdin?
I did.
Where is it? I have it
From Limited
nearby.
Run? The $100 carts?
Is it limited run?
I believe so.
I don't think it's
No,
limited
No,
run.
it's
I am
it's
8-bit.
8-bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
here's a clip of it. So I guess you can get. Hang on, there's shit. I was supposed to read this before we started. I ran out of time. So is it a box that comes with both a Sega version of the Aladdin game and or Genesis version of the Aladdin game, and then a Lion King cart for
I think
Super?
you have, yeah, I think you have to buy it or something or.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff here. I'm not gonna read it all on screen,
Well,
but
the thing of it is I was stupid enough to buy one of those. I bought the Street Fighter 2 one.
oh, it's from that company.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, here's the Aladdin Genesis cart. They made 4,500 of them, and apparently it's also playable. Is it? Yeah, I guess it would be the old game. And then you have all sorts of.
Well, the thing of it is, it's not like, I don't know. Like, at least Street Fighter 2, like, okay. Like, that was a big thing in gaming. But, like, Aladdin and Lion King, like, those are common ass games. But then again, so was, the other.
Yeah, they're tapping
Earthworm
into
Jim
the
was the other one too. They did the
Yeah.
spotted cow cart or whatever.
Yeah, and then there's 4,500 of these Lion King Super Nintendo carts with some kind of yellow, Mufasa yellow.
Yeah, I don't really
Symbol.
like the yellow.
No, they call it opaque Mufasa marigold. Oh, and there's a glow in the dark cartridge too, because everybody loves to find their cartridge in the dark.
Man, fuck Mufasa.
He did.
Yeah, it's okay. He didn't make it. Anything you can talk about?
Only what I have talked about.
Okay. How about you, Craig? Have you been playing anything aside Apex Legends and Rocket League?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The skies have opened up. They presented me with a new game. I tried to jump into the Outer Worlds on Friday, but I was going to be playing that. But I actually ended up getting a code for Modern Warfare. So after the 175 gigabyte install,
Holy shit.
well,
shit.
the download was the beefy part of it, and then in between moving and all that stuff. So I've been playing some multiplayer matches. I haven't jumped into the campaign yet, but I've heard nothing but good things. But shit, man, it runs like a champ on my PC, and like now you can just link up with other people through cross-platform play with your Call of Duty ID. So I've realistically I play with a controller. Sometimes I'll play mouse keyboard. It depends on the game, but I mean it just loops you in with other Xbox and PlayStation players, and I've actually been liking it for the most part. I haven't really come across anything that I don't like about it. It's just feels very old school mixed with new school. So I'm digging it.
Have you followed the Call of Duty franchise in the last couple years?
So I took a big hiatus after the whole Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward split, and then Respawn Respawn Entertainment starting a new studio with the former creators and all that sort of stuff, and just the whole like the initial stuff that they did with Modern Warfare 2, having the DLC locked on the disc. I don't know, it was a sign of things to come, but at the time it just kind of turned me off to the series. And after Modern Warfare 2, I didn't really touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably wasn't until like World War II, so Call of Duty World War II. And I started getting, so I had I got an invite to the CWL in Dallas, in Texas, and they flew me out, and I got to check it out firsthand and cover the show and all that sort of stuff. And it kind of reignited what I liked about the series and the competitiveness. And I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm still able, to kind of hold my own, which makes the game at least fun for the time being. So, yeah, I've just been jumping back into that and it's starting to get over the learning curve and really figuring out the rest of the game. So
Is it love it, like it, hate it, or meh?
I'm in between the like it and the love it
Oh,
range.
okay, so it's a pretty
Yeah.
solid game.
Oh yeah, it's got some hooks in me already, and I still have yet to play with a bunch of other people that have the game on console that I can now play with because of cross-platform play.
And did you actually get around to playing Outer Worlds? Call of Duty Outer Worlds were kind of the two big releases last week.
I have not. I know like everybody on my friends list is playing it, and it kind of bugs me. But
Mm.
I'll probably jump into it next weekend, maybe. I think.
How about you, Sean? I'm surprised you haven't dived into that one.
I don't have time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all it boils down to is I have no time to do it.
Yeah.
So when you have no time, you clearly have to pick and choose the games you want. Are you picking them on what you think will do well or on your own interests?
A little from column A, a little from column B.
That's fair.
Same.
I haven't had much time myself. Been pretty much doing... Oh, what was that indie game I played last week? It was like a Contra clone. Blazing Chrome, I think.
Keep on playing indie.
Yeah, Blazing Chrome. Holy shit, that game's hard.
Yeah,
Have you guys played it?
No, it's getting a physical, so I've been waiting on it.
Yeah,
Played a little bit of it.
Outlast is super good.
Outlast?
Yeah, someone in the chat asked. I loved Outlast, and I didn't think I would because it's kind of walking simulator-y, but I loved it.
Yeah, I'm Blazing Chrome is a pretty good game if you're into really hard run and gun kind of games. I think there's 6 levels in it. I beat 3 of them, and the other ones are just... I had to tone down the difficulty from normal to easy, and even then I was getting destroyed. Pretty tough game. Still going through Circle of Moon at like the 60% mark. Still a lot of time to put into that. Castlevania Circle of Moon, of course. And moving along with Persona 5 a bit. So I'm starting to be like Greg and just playing, cycling through the same kind of games for now. I didn't really get to try anything new outside of Blazing Chrome.
Well, I mean, that's what Sean was saying too. Like, you just don't have the time, and that's actually the piece I started tonight. That was like talking about how Modern Warfare is like the perfect time sink because it's not really fighting for you to invest a shit ton of time in the game to start unlocking stuff. But I mean, that's why I stick to the majority of the games that I do is because like, okay, cool, I know there's probably not going to be an update. I don't have to go through a tutorial. I could just jump in and play the games that I've been playing, and then if there's a game out for review or something that I know I'm going to be invested in, everything else goes on pause, and I then circle back to them once it's done.
Yeah, I've been taking more of my time. So I used to get into this bad habit of buying a game, playing it for 1 or 2 sessions, then buying another game, playing that just to kind of stay on top of all the new game releases. But of course, that gets costly quick. So now I've actually scaled back and I'm like, hey, how about I just lower my spending and actually enjoy these games longer and play through them. Like Link's Awakening, I still haven't beaten that. I think I'm halfway through the game. So just kind of juggling a little bit what I got. And then there's 2 big games I really want to get. Luigi's Mansion 3 coming up. Death Stranding. I don't want to buy it at launch, but I also do because it seems to be the type of game that's going to evolve so much. Because you know how it's a game that anything you leave in the world, other players will see. So I assume that whoever...
It's not going to be a...
Well, here's my assumption. I think that everyone who jumps in at launch is going to have this barren world. And anyone who jumps in a month later, it's going to be a littered world. So I really want to see that evolution.
I doubt it'll be...
Yeah, unless it's like Fallout 76 where they... certain servers you can jump into and they're looted and the loot goes away, and then it takes a while for it to re-wipe itself.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to treat it because the whole concept is about what's the terminology he used? Stranding, I think. And it's kind of a community-based game. So if someone leaves you a ladder to cross a chasm, you can leave a like for that player that like, oh, thanks for this ladder. And
wow, that sounds awesome.
No, but okay, so here's
how about you just give me the fucking ladder?
Okay, the like isn't the exciting part. So let's say you're trying to cross this chasm, you don't have a ladder, right? So you go through all this effort to get across this chasm to go to a town. And then on your way back, you realize there's like 20 ladders because other people have come by and set up all this stuff, and it's a whole different area now. And some people might leave like
of
mailboxes.
ladders?
They can have mailboxes with power ups. Some people could leave you skateboards. Like it becomes a whole different game.
Does it really though?
If it's all on one server, and that's the thing I don't know right now. So I'm really curious about it. But if it is on one server, I don't want to miss out on that.
You can get an otter hat.
Hmm?
Did you see that? The otter hat?
Yeah, that was one of the topics I wanted to bring up. So we have Conan O'Brien in the game now.
Yeah.
Wait, is he really in it, or was that just a joke?
No, well, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he's in it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in it.
Well, you got me. Yeah, he's in there, and he gives an otter hat so that you can swim downstream or upstream or in any streams. Which brings the question of how many more celebrities are going to be in this game.
Angry Sean is.
Fuck this game.
Why? Okay, do you think celebrities in games is bad?
No, but I think shoehorning them in is bad.
True.
Is this a shoehorn?
No, Jason, it's completely natural for Conan O'Brien and
I don't think
it's
a shoehorn. I just think like the most like I wish he was like gatekeeping it a little bit instead of just inviting everybody and his friends to just be in the fucking game.
Well, so far they're kind of
kind of
relevant.
like
Jeff
watering it
Keighley's
down.
not. Jeff Keighley shouldn't be there, but Conan O'Brien kind of has a celebrity stake in it. You know, he's one of the bigger celebrity gamers, if you will.
He's not really a gamer.
I don't like mainstream celebrity that covers gaming.
What's the point? What does it add to the game, though? Like, what is this? Is it making the game better?
Well, it's making us talk about it, so it makes the marketing better.
Make you talk about it.
And I'm making you talk about it, so it's spreading.
But I wouldn't talk about it if it wasn't for you.
But Greg brought it up, so you're saying it's Greg's fault.
Can I retract my statement now? Fuck.
I like this. I have someone to bounce to now. What were we talking about? Death Stranding. Oh yeah, those are the games I want to pick up soon. All right, let's get into our big headlines. So one of the big ones that came down is PlayStation announcing a delay of Last of Us Part 2 weeks after they announced the release date, which is... We're going to talk about that. And then Ghost of Tsushima, which did not have a release date, has been delayed into the second half of 2020. By the way, Last of Us Part 2 delayed from February to May, so we're only talking about a few months. And then Ubisoft, they didn't just shit in it, they disintegrated it with their shit. Like, there is no more bed.
Acid shit.
All of their games are now
Speaking
delayed.
of acid shit.
Yes.
What?
What about it? Do you have to go, Greg?
No, but my dog really does have acid shits
Are
right
you
now.
serious?
Yeah, I don't know what she got into, but she's been leaving like yellow slime piles all over the place.
That's disgusting. So
They taste terrible.
So Ubisoft has delayed Gods and Monster, which is honestly a game I completely forgot even existed. Do you guys remember that?
You mean Assassin's Creed?
It was their final. It was their final announcement at their E3 event.
Oh, so I was probably asleep by that point. Then they're delaying Rainbow Six Quarantine, which also don't care, and Watch Dogs Legion, all delayed into the next fiscal year, which is after March 2020. Oh, and then of course they pretty much, it's tied all in. Ubisoft also announced that they're pretty much pulling out, like they're giving up with all their games because their recent 2 games flopped and their stock cratered considerably. And as a Ubisoft investor, that sucked. So, how do you guys interpret this? Do you guys think the 2 PlayStation game delays are just innocent delays, or do you guys think it's PlayStation 5 driven, or is it internal conflict at PlayStation, all of the above?
What are you talking about? Ghost of Tsushima was never I don't ever think was going to be. I think it's going to be a simultaneous launch, a PS4 and a PS5 version.
I agree with you.
Last of Us was just fucking stupid, and if anything, it just diminishes the point of the hell's their thing? State of Plays. It diminishes the point. That was the whole big banger for State of Play, and now it's pointless because they aren't doing it. So that to me is probably the bigger story, is it just sort of shrinks the importance of a State of Play event. Do I think it's weird? Like, fuck yeah, you just announced the release date like a month ago, It's not like all of a sudden within the past 3 weeks you're like, oh shit, we're not gonna have this game ready by then. I think it's more of a market decision, because if you look, the top half of 2020 is pretty hefty.
I don't think it's a. They said it was to polish off the game, but the fact that they just announced the release date, I think it's coming down from marketing or executive, because they're just moving it slightly into their next fiscal quarter, which means they can now free up more money to basically promote Last of Us 2 in the next fiscal quarter, because PlayStation's basically year ends at the end of March, and I think that's they just want to slide Last of Us 2 into the next fiscal year, which is also the one with PlayStation 5. I think it's an investor play. It's a whole business play. I don't
Yeah,
think
I think it's indicative of everything that's kind of going on right now in terms of like the game industry. Like we're on the verge of a new console generation. Same thing with GPUs and APUs, utilized in both desktop and console hardware. Then you have underperforming games. You have a shit ton of games coming out at the same time. So I think, and I'm sure that investors are pushing them to make adjustments to their release schedule, especially if after a hands-on press event where press was able to go and actually play The Last of Us and provide their feedback. I mean, that might be a godsend for them too, to get some of the feedback. Oh, I wish, I like this about the game, but I wish this. I mean, you're seeing some of the biggest critics out there critique what they played, and it was a sliver of the gameplay. And so now, they at least give, some feedback on what's working, and it gives them some time to readjust.
That's a good point. I forgot about that. Their media event was after they announced the launch date, wasn't it? So yeah, that I didn't consider that. They probably could have found a lot of new ideas or stuff from that feedback session.
Because I remember hearing even like God of War, how he's able to return his axe wasn't implemented until like the final. I think I heard something along the lines of like the final months of game development.
What would
And
have
that's like
happened? What would have happened to the axe before you had to go pick it up?
I have no idea. I just happened to hear that in some game commentary. But I mean, even if there's like little things like that they're wanting to implement, this just gives them more cushion to do those types of things.
For the pushing.
I almost said that too.
But Sean also has a good point. With Last of Us 2 was pretty much bumped up right against Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is already a big exclusive for PlayStation. Well, currently. It's not like they needed two bangers back to back like that. And then they've got Avengers, which it's kind of on the fence. Some people seem to treat it like it's going to be a big release. I'm in that camp. What are you doing there?
That's what I think of Avengers.
You don't think it's going to do well?
I'm not excited for it whatsoever.
That's the thing. I'm not feeling anybody's excited for it.
And they're like shoving it down our throats, like, get excited for it. We're still on the hype train, guys. Come on.
We're like you can keep going, hype train. We're not getting on this one. And then you've got a lot of competition in March because you got Doom that got moved to March. Doom Eternal. You have I don't think Animal Crossing is affecting anything here, but
wow,
it could be.
Like they're very different audiences. Come on, guys.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow?
Bold statement.
Yeah, okay. I stand by the statement. And then over on also PlayStation has been just really quiet this year. Like I think something big is coming with they're not just gonna. You guys remember the PlayStation 4 when it came out? You had a few okay big titles. You had a lot of cross-plat that was PS3, PS4. And then over the next year or two, it was a lot of definitive edition and remakes. And I think PlayStation is going to go the other route. I think they're going to go more like what Nintendo did with the Switch, where it's bam, new hardware, but also bam, 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 like a lot of really strong first-party titles right out the gate. And that's what I think we're going to see Ghost of Tsushima. We're going to see Last of Us Part 2, probably definitive edition right out the gate.
And the other thing you have to consider, they recently did an executive shuffle too.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
should have done the Super Bowl shuffle.
What's the Super Bowl shuffle?
I don't know.
You don't remember that song?
Nope.
It was from the 1980s something. Chicago Bears. You gotta play. How do you fucking weirdos not know the Super Bowl Shuffle? All right, Jason.
See,
I'll
Greg,
send
by
the
you
link.
being here, he can't just say, "Damn you, Canada." He has to say, "You weirdos." Now you've taken away the Canada card.
Well, I'm probably the lamest person because I don't watch sports really.
I put it in there. You
That's
gotta
okay.
Play it,
Don't feel bad about that, Greg.
You gotta play it for everyone.
You sent it where?
In the Discord.
I can't open Discord subtly on the podcast. Send it through Facebook.
Are you gonna play it?
I'll play it.
All right, cool.
I can't hate on your song choices. Every time you recommend a song on this podcast, it's always pretty damn good.
Oh, wait till you hear the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Is it gonna be good?
I mean,
I can't stop staring at their packages. Why?
What?
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 That's because they have the cup in.
Did you send it yet?
I'm sorry, yeah, I just sent it.
All right.
You gotta remember, this is football players.
All right. What the? This thing's 5 minutes long. Do I have to watch the whole thing?
Yes.
I mean, not the whole thing. The chat board.
Let's see. Okay, we got screen. Oh, they're shuffling.
This is the Super Bowl Shuffle.
What is this resolution?
It's from the 80s.
There's stuff for everyone.
Oh, this is so bad.
Look at Sweetness Walter Payton.
Well, they call me Sweetness, and I like to dance. Running the ball is like making more mans. We had the goal since training
Is that a
camp
green
to
screen
give
effect?
Chicago a Super Bowl champ. And we're not doing this
Walter
because we're
Payton will
greedy.
kill
The
you.
Bears are doing it to feed.
Oh, yeah, he was
it.
rough.
We didn't come
R.I.P.
here to
Walter
look for
Payton.
trouble. We just
This is like white level cringe.
I mean, it was probably a big song in Canada.
I don't know. Did you guys
If it was
see
a
that?
hockey team, you'd probably like it.
What's that?
I said if it was a hockey team, you'd probably like
No, I
it.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't watch hockey.
Hey, go Leafs, huh?
And our hockey music is pretty good. Have you guys heard the new hockey anthem of Canada?
No, we don't listen to hockey.
It's pretty good. I think there's like bagpipes in there. It's good. It's a good time.
What?
Yeah, bagpipes. That's what I want.
It's good.
Nothing says Canada like bagpipes.
Hang on. It's
Shuffle.
Oh my God.
so there was the classic one that ran for like 50 years, and then they made a new one which everybody hated because it was new. I liked it. Let me see if I can find it. What's it called? That's the original. Oh, it looks like they made a new one this year.
Following is a presentation of Hockey Night in
this
Canada
it?
in association
Fucker right
with
in
the
the eye.
National Hockey
We
League.
get so distracted on this.
I'm still listening to this.
Yeah, this is kind of it. Oh, they changed it a bit.
And here comes the copyright part.
I don't know who would own this song. Like, the Bears?
Yeah, they tweaked the song. This is like a remix. They got rid of the bagpipes.
It ain't no Super Bowl Shuffle.
Fun opening. We got Gaelic.
Hang on. They're
Yeah, when did Scotland take over Canada?
Is it this one? It was 10 years ago already? Nah, you guys got here. I think there was a bagpipe. I'm not sure anymore if there was a bagpipe. Is this it?
Oh,
Yeah, this is it. Here it is.
you're a bagpipe.
There's bagpipes. Well, this sounds really low.
Ain't no Super Bowl Shuffle.
Oh, this is way better than the Super Bowl Shuffle.
It's really not.
Okay, Gretzky.
Is that the one player you know, Greg?
Yeah. I remember some like Saturday morning cartoon that had
Yeah, this isn't a good quality.
Gretzky.
But anyways, it's a good song. Sorry, my song beats yours this time, Sean.
Oh, great.
You know, every country takes its turn at taking us over. How do we get into sport
I really feel like you would just lay over, too.
music? Why do you feel that?
I feel like if I went into Canada and I was like, hey, you know what? I run this shit now. They'd just be like, oh, okay, mate. Sounds good. There's some poutine.
What would you even do if you ran Canada? Like you wouldn't even be a threat. We'd look at you and we're like, yeah, you'll be out of here in a month.
Yeah, you guys are a real threat now. Everyone fears Canada. One of those crazy bastards.
I'm not saying anyone fears us, but we're just so nonchalant. What are we gonna do? Like, oh, you want to run this place? Okay. Oh, you're not running it. Well, get out.
I'm just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle, to be honest.
All right. Ubisoft is what I think we were talking about, if I can remember.
Yeah, shitting the bed.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Ubisoft? Do you guys think they're going under? Things aren't looking too good for them right now.
That's a big jump.
Well, I mean, what good game? Okay, so the big game that they were all flaunting earlier was The Division 2, and now they're saying it wasn't profitable.
I mean, it's the same shit that Capcom went through in the middle of, the middle of the 2000. What was it? 2009, 2007, when they had so many games that were good, but they just bombed. And they just had to restructure and figure out what people wanted. And I mean, they just got to do the same thing.
So what do you think we're going to see Ubisoft pivot to?
I think they're just going to do less releases. I mean, all you have to do is downsize a little bit and stop fucking churning out bullshit that people aren't buying and rehash this. I mean, how many fucking Rainbow Six games have there been?
I don't know. They have...
Or Tom Clancy. Like, Tom Clancy, it's like, his dick must be, like, rotted away because they suck it so much.
He's dead, isn't he?
I don't know.
It's really rotten.
He died like 2 years ago.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was dead. I think he died.
He died in 2013. That poor guy.
That's like a horrible STD grave dick.
Way to hate on a dead guy, Sean.
I'm not hating on him.
You're hating on his dick. You said it's rotting.
I said I was feeling bad for him.
Okay.
I mean, like, I think
bastardizing everything.
Yeah, bottom line is, like, stop releasing games. Like, you can't, like, how do you expect your audience to get excited about Far Cry when right as you're playing Far Cry, they release another Far Cry? And it's like, each game is like the same thing except with a different coat of paint on it.
Yes.
Like, they're in different eras or different timelines or whatever, and it's like, okay, you've perfected this, like, as it stands, the model that you have right now. Like, innovate, do something different instead of just releasing it one after another. I mean, like, it's like, I see that happen, like, with multiple companies, like what Sean said, like with Capcom, and post Resident Evil 6, and it took them a while to get back on to where they would make something original like Resident Evil 7. And I think it's unfortunate because we're talking about a multi-million-dollar company readjusting and not just shelling out game after game after game. It takes some time to make something new. And I think Gods and Monsters is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It was like something along those lines, but it also just reeked of Assassin's Creed. So, like,
but I find Ubisoft is one of the more innovative studio that's willing to take risks. Okay.
What?
Look at Mario Rabbids. It's
not a risk when Nintendo is backing it.
Well, as I was saying, I realized they take risk when Nintendo backs it.
You can shit in a box and put Mario on it and it'll sell.
Fair point.
Go on. Tell me of these risky innovations.
Starlink. Even though there was the Star Fox angle for the Switch, it was still a pretty risky thing to go to Toys to Life that late into the cycle.
I don't know if it was necessarily risky, more so than dumb.
It was a risk. It could be a dumb risk. Not all risks are intelligent.
All right, what else you got?
Like it. I mean, like I understand.
Don't let him off.
Damn it!
Don't let him off.
Save me, Greg.
I'm just saying, like they're great at crafting open world experiences, but they've diluted their own pool of games that they're outputting. I mean, like, take a couple years off. I mean, I just don't understand this need to, create games one after another, then delay them, then be upset when they're not profitable, or it's like I don't know. I just don't understand. I mean, obviously it's from the outside looking in, but I just don't understand the need to continue putting new things out in front of your audience when they haven't even finished with the previous one. And they're the same genre of games, and you're reaching the same audience. You can't just keep pelting them with it.
To go back to risk taking though, on the Wii U, they were the first ones to come out with Zombie U and actually try to do something with that tablet. And then they came out with Rayman Legends and also tried something unique with that tablet. And some of those risks, most of those risks, turned out poor for them.
I'm sure those risks are what is causing them to delay all the games now, 5 years later.
No, but I'm saying it's
oh fuck, man, that Wii U. That's why.
You asked me to prove to you that Ubisoft is a company that takes risks. When the Wii came out, who was the first third-party publisher out trying stuff out with the Wiimote? You had
lately.
Red
Steel.
I'm saying they have a history of taking risks through the last 2 gens.
Fuck Eves.
And then they came out with an older style RPG. What was that? Child of Light?
Yeah, it was a multiplayer.
That was a fantastic game. And then they had Rayman Origins and Legends, which were fantastic platformers when they didn't really do platformers.
Zombie U sucked. I don't care what it's a game based on melee interaction, and you have one melee weapon. How is that fun?
I liked it.
Watch Dogs, as much as I don't like it, how many hacking games are there like that out there, even though it does, smell a bit of Assassin's Creed?
It was a bit of Assassin's Creed with GTA. It wasn't innovative.
Yeah, I don't think it was good either.
It was full of false promises as well.
Just Dance was innovative when it came out. Everybody was busy with their mats stomping on them, and then they're like, hey, you don't need your mat anymore. Just hold the phone.
A few small outliers hardly count as risks. I agree.
Well, Treon just hates on Ubisoft. He said earlier he hates it, so he's biased.
I mean, he's not wrong, though.
So on the one hand, I can argue they take risks. On the other hand, their last E3, all I saw were first-person shooters, and this is what I hate about Ubisoft, and I think this is what's slapping them in the face right now, is why do you need so many first-person shooters from one studio? Like, okay, maybe, and this, I don't know if I'm the one that's biased and I don't understand the nuances between first-person shooters, because I don't play first-person shooters. But I don't understand why they need 4 to 5 different IPs in the first-person shooter genre.
I mean, maybe they were just there to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
He's got a point.
No.
I'm still looping it. No. I think I'm on like the 3rd time.
Well, I think, Far Cry was a series that didn't really... I played Far Cry 2, and then I forget there was I think another offshoot somewhere in there, but...
Blood Dragon?
No. This was like Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3. But Far Cry 3 was the one that really hooked me, and then I was excited for Far Cry 4. But then it was I don't know, it was just a copy and paste of the other one. And then played a little bit of Far Cry Primal, which was pretty much the same exact game, liberate these camps, discover new areas, run around this big ass map, pick up things, action, light RPG mechanics. And it's just, I don't know, it's just, it got old after they were like, oh yeah, this works. Let's do 7 more that are exactly the same thing, just in different places.
Right. Yeah, they're very they get excited when they have one good seller. They copy paste very quickly.
Yeah, you can see that in Breakpoint too. I started playing one with friends and just completely left it behind. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get excited for Breakpoint because this is an opportunity for us to play together and whatever. And I started playing it and I'm just like, yeah, this thing it's pretty bland and it seems rushed.
I wonder if because of these delays, if they're going to delay their other games, is this going to affect timelines for Skull and Bones, for
Skull and Bones, the game that already has been delayed?
Yeah. Because that was delayed into 2020, 2021. But now that all this slew of games just got moved into there, is Skull and Bones now going to get pushed further, or are they just going to have a really heavy year in 2020, 2021?
I'm sure. I actually played an early build of that game.
Do you like it? Oh, no, yeah, I played it too. I didn't like it. Did not like it.
Yeah, it was just the ship combat. It was okay for what it was. It was as if that was a mini game, but, speaking to developers, it seemed like that was the game. And I was like, you can't get off the boat.
But the thing is, even on the boat, in Black Flag, I love being on the boat and doing everything. It did not feel as fun and as good in the demo.
You could get off the boat.
It's not because you couldn't get off the boat.
No, you can get off the boat in Black Flag. So it's in the back of your mind. Whereas in that game, you're always on the boat.
Just remind me of those tank games where you're, in a tank fighting other tanks. And in this case, it was just.
So if you get out of the tank, it's more fun, is what you're saying?
Well,
refreshing change of pace.
Yeah.
All right.
Then Beyond Good and Evil is also
Yeah.
in that mix somewhere.
But that one never had a release window. It's still
Yeah.
a carrot on the
Which is-
horizon.
I think
Another game that I saw behind closed doors and watched the engine unfold. You know, the demo that they released to everybody else about going from like, combat and then into a ship and then into space. They did that in real time.
Mhm.
Sitting with us in the demo, and I mean, they cut some pieces out from what they showed in the final trailer. I think reveal for it, but I don't know.
Jake
That
is
world even
asking-
itself seemed barren.
Jake is asking if Ubisoft is still being bought out. Who would be buying Ubisoft out?
No, they stopped the takeover. That was like I think a couple months back.
Who was trying to
Thanks.
take them over?
I think it was Tom
Vivendi?
Clancy.
Who?
Was it Vivendi?
Them or Tom Clancy?
I don't know. Yeah, let's do a lightning round. So if you have questions, topics, we didn't get through all of our topics, surprisingly. But yeah, let us know. In the meantime, I'll try to cover the other two. Fallout 76, what do you guys think of their subscription service?
Fucking dumb.
How could anybody think that's a good idea? With a game that they clearly acknowledge has had a ton of issues for the last year, and they know how much hate they're getting for it, and they're like, you know what? We need a little bit more hate. Let's try to charge for more features.
It's kind of a shitty thing to milking the customers that you do have that are loyal.
Exactly. It's like, oh, we have too many players. We gotta get rid of some.
Yeah.
It was Vivendi, apparently. Alex asked, anyone actually play Gears 5? I did not.
I never got around to it.
Played a couple of missions. It was okay. It's one of those games, like you said, Jason. You start playing and then you forget about it and something else comes out and you play that for a little bit. So I think I'll circle back to it at some point.
RPG asks, will RGT Man up his aerobics gear and do proper Just Dance 2020 review?
I guess I have to.
Yeah. Bring out more costumes.
Yeah, I'll have one for that.
Apparently, Kat says the Fallout 76 sub stuff started a class war in the game. Like there's people who are elites because they're like, oh, I put more money than you. That's odd.
Very odd.
Keep those questions coming. Our other topic that we didn't get around to is Google Stadia. They just opened up a game studio in Montreal now to make exclusives, and
They're on the ball, baby.
they're somewhere in the rearview mirror. This is crazy that anybody would release a platform without having their exclusives lined up first. Google's
Your dumbass
just
bought
doing.
it.
But the silver lining is Google believes Stadia is going to be around for multiple years because they're
Yeah,
saying,
I believe I can fly.
keep on believing, man.
Doesn't mean it's gonna happen.
I just find it funny they're luring all these developers and big names to the business with just money alone.
Money
I
is
mean,
usually
good-
pretty good.
Good, yeah, but good for them to cash in on a one-time thing, and they're
Well, I
probably
mean, the
going
thing
to
of
have
it
them
is
knock away.
They probably don't have to do much to get their games. You know, it's essentially a PC build of the game, correct?
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And you're charging full price for a PC build of the game that you can play on your television because God forbid you have an HDMI out on your computer or something. That's a new thing, evidently.
So more to the exclusive news, they're saying it will be up to 7 years until a fully new IP. Let me finish. That uses the complete power of the cloud and all of the technology that Google Stadia has, that they're saying is proprietary and that is unique to the game world. 7 years before a full exclusive that takes advantage of everything will be available to play. But we will see exclusives coming out about every year over the next few years.
I will be in my 40s by the time that happens.
Oh, I never even thought of that. My kid will be gone to college. Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's weird. A lot can happen in 7 years. The PlayStation 5 will be at the end of its life cycle, probably.
You assume that.
7 years ago, I was married.
And here's another thing that talking at Re-Res Studio made me realize. So you know how any publisher right now, hardware publisher, gotta get that plug in there. When you sell any PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo console, they usually sell it at a loss or at break-even point, right? And then they make their money off the software. But then later on in the life cycle of the console, they actually get a kickback on that because the hardware costs drop. And so, like, I'm sure right now PlayStation is making money off PlayStation 4s, whereas they were not 5 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. Same page. Stadia is not going to have that benefit because they're touting that developers will always have, and consumers, the best technology available because they go to their server farm and they just go swap. And boom, you have the most updated hardware. So I don't know how their economics make sense to justify paying for that because they're already taking a small cut of third-party publishers, right? If you put out a game on Stadia, it's the same price. It's going to be $60 US, which means Google is going to be taking, I don't know, 10-15% of that. And then that money is going towards all of this the economics just don't make sense. I don't know how they're going to make money on this for another 5 to 10 years.
Do you think
it's going to fail?
I think what's going to happen is they're not going to have the initial push that they want,
of course,
or it's going to be, cobbled together for the first whatever, and then you're just going to get another launcher. You're going to get a Stadia store that's open to more than just streaming players, and they're going to throw money at it, bring over more developers, just like Epic Game Store has done thus far, and or who knows, maybe they buy out Epic Games if they even have that ability. But
maybe Epic Games
buys out Stadia. I could see them selling the technology behind it though.
Just like every person that has done before them, acquired, Rain and OnLive and all these other services. I mean, Google Stadia is going to be the same, I think.
But at least Jason will have his. Penny pinching Jason.
I am definitely strongly reconsidering my position of that pre-order.
I can't afford a Sega Genesis Classic.
No, I got it. It's still back there. It's back there. You see it? You don't see it.
No, I'm doing this horrible mini game.
Of what game?
I need to get Super Monkey Ball.
Oh. Are you having a ball?
Game. Not with this mini game. We can go to hell. I just need to beat it though.
All right. Any other questions, topics for Greg, for Sean, for myself, anything else in the lightning round? We got Arfan saying, I hope the PlayStation 5 looks better than that hospital bed pan dev kit. Most definitely. It'll always.
Yeah, dev kits are never indicative.
Dev kits are always the ugliest thing ever. I think the Wii U was like green and white. It was disgusting. Kat asks, do you think xCloud will do better than Google Stadia? Absolutely. Yes.
They have a massive install base. Well, decent size. I wouldn't say massive.
I suspect the only reason we are hearing about Stadia this year in 2019 is because of Microsoft ratcheting up the pressure on streaming services. And Google just thought it was better to be out on the scene instead of coming out after xCloud.
Well, I think Google, got everybody thinking about it more than probably what they were. And now that it's kind of dialed back a little bit, and especially because Microsoft is like even here in Iowa, they built I believe it's the largest server farm in the U.S. because there's so much free land, inexpensive land out here, and so now you have a Microsoft server farm out here that's completely massive. But I think Google, just by saying that they were doing streaming services, kind of made PlayStation and Xbox, kind of look at themselves what they were doing, and just in anticipation that it would get bigger, really ratcheted up what they were already doing.
Yeah, I think it definitely put a little bit more pressure on Microsoft and Sony for sure. But if anything, it's going to backfire on Google because the more we see of Google Stadia, the more we see they're not prepared. They are not prepared for a launch. Like they can't even meet the demand of pre-orders. Apparently, not everyone's going to get their Google Stadia at launch. There's no exclusive at launch. They're still setting up their studios. They just hired the VP of like this division last year. Not even last year, earlier this year. And they're already going back on a lot of the promises in the last few weeks. They're saying, oh no, you can't go over cellular anymore. You can only connect your controller through Wi-Fi. And they're damage controlling before the platform is even out. So it'll be interesting to see what they do because
You bought it.
There's got to be some good in there because they're still going with a release. If it was complete if it was complete trash, they wouldn't go ahead with it.
It's Google. They have money out the ass. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's a wonder to me why they didn't just throw money at this until they,
We're ready.
were able to fulfill, things like pre-orders. Like why the two don't, like, why not?
They might also be trying to get ahead of the next console generation buzz. Like next year, it's going to be covered with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet news. So why compete with that when you can just get out now with a shitty experience and product? At least
I think it. Oh God.
I had nothing.
No, I was responding to the question for me. I think they. I think they announced that it was physical in Steam, but I don't think they announced a release date yet for
Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah. I still don't think it's a concrete release date.
Alex asks, streaming won't take, or he doesn't ask, he comments, streaming won't take off until what? Until uptime on the games needs to be 99.9999% of the time, or people will be pissed they don't have access to their games. People will be pissed either way, even if it was such a small fraction of downtime. Any amount of downtime is always going to cause people to get pissed.
Well, as you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've noticed it a lot more lately too, that you're having these, like, I don't know if it's because they're doing infrastructure changes or what, but I've noticed like Xbox down. I don't know, maybe it's just my perception of it going down more than I have seen in the past.
But that could be said of anything. Like when Facebook goes down for 20 minutes, or Twitter or Instagram, the whole internet goes on fire.
Yeah. But I mean, all these things, point that there's instability in internet services, and then Google wants to invest entirely in a service that's on the internet.
It's a risk.
It's too risky.
It's a big risk. RPG says, anyone heard, is Cuphead coming out physically to the Switch? Wasn't this a thing?
Supposed to be.
It's supposed to be, but I don't know where that is. Same with Ori, apparently. Oh yeah, we got a new Ori game coming out in February. I just remember that.
People are always pissed.
Always pissing.
Better to be pissed off than be pissed on.
Cal asks, how long till we get reboot style gaming?
That's a good question.
You mean like when a whole like server comes down from the sky?
No, stupid. Reboot the show.
That's what I'm talking about. Every time a game came, it would be like incoming game, and there'd be like this big prism that would come from the sky. We're getting there. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes left for the show. So anything, Sean, that you want to talk about coming down on your channel, your life?
Go watch my Beetlejuice video. Didn't get the views that it should.
Mitch makes an appearance.
And
Sean's pretty good at being a Beetlejuice. I hope that cosplay comes out more often.
It was horrible to wear.
How many more mini arcades can RGT fit in his home?
In my home, plenty. I mean, I got room for 2 right there. I could fit 1 right there. I could line up a ball along this wall if I have to. In the game room, no. The game room's tapped out.
How about you, Greg? What's up in your life for the coming week and stuff?
Nothing really. Just piece going up probably tomorrow. Other than that, I'm going to be moving, the bane of my existence, moving places. But after this, I'll be in a new house. I'll have my game room officially fully set up, which I can unbox all these consoles that have been in totes and stuff.
Are you moving this week?
The house closes on the 5th, so I'm moving this week. Then we're living in another place, like a bunch of homeless people, and then we're going to be in our actual house.
Okay, so you probably won't be joining us next week then. Is that safe to assume?
Maybe. It depends. I think I might have my desktop set up. I might not. I'm not sure yet.
Okay, we'll stay in touch. We have BlizzCon this Friday that starts off with the opening ceremonies, and there is a lot of rumors about some stuff, some potential topics that some are speculating. Diablo 4 could be coming out, an Overwatch 2, which I'd be really surprised. Warcraft 3 Reforged, new World of Warcraft expansion, a potential Diablo 2 remastered. Either way, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of news coming out of that, good or bad.
I want to know how they handle the whole
Oh yeah.
Hong Kong.
They're gonna
topic.
pretend it didn't happen. They're just gonna smile through it.
Yeah, but you can't do that. They're already planned protests for the day of.
I
and
know.
It's like,
It's gonna be so awkward.
I think everybody's just excited for the shitstorm.
I also don't think it's gonna be the protests are gonna be as big as people think.
No, I don't think it's gonna be big protests.
Just like the Area 51 shit. Remember how many people stormed Area 51?
I think it was a whole 52. I don't know. It wasn't a lot of people.
Probably 51.
Yeah, maybe. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week, and I'll see you guys on the next Indie Corner stream as well as Castlevania stream. Until next time, keep it classy, or as Sean would say,
Keep it crassy.
or as Greg would say.
Crassy because I hate moving.
There you go. Have a good night, everybody.